Another dash by Volksgrenadiers out in the open, hitting a mine already deeply wounded, many losses. One team still continuing despite facing rifle and BAR fire. And of course a complete slaughter, pulling back in the face of Krebs cohort's superior defenses, with a medic station picking up any potential casualties. No coordinated effort, not even an attempt from battery to actually support the Volksgrenadiers in their charge on the hill, on Krebs Hill. We see further charging through here in the center, an armored half-track seemingly cut off, might have to pull back. American riflemen pushing further, cutting off the Wehrmacht commanders from even more resources. In fact, they're going to lose their second last fuel point. So not looking good at all. And we see what looks like to be a larger surge from Mr. Krebs, gathering on his little hill with 4 rifleman teams and an airborne team. Bunkers going up for Aragon for some apparent reason, no, not sure what. Perhaps we might see a repair bunker and a medic bunker. Certainly would have been useful a lot earlier, so some of the attrition could have been mitigated, at least allowed them all to go on going for much longer. And we see here an attempt at breaking through the hedgerows using flamethrowers and Panzer, since this is a bit of a weak spot, and if broken through can either mean they can move out here and secure territory, or the allies can move in from here and attack their base. And we see a T-17 being knocked out by flak-fielding Panzer, and I don't know what else kind of fire. Although it looks like the flak-fielding got the kill. And we see a Geschützwagen, meaning that certainly elements of the 21st Panzer Division are among them. The Army Group B, that is. And we see an MG42 massing ahead, no support, just setting up right in front of the enemy, regardless that they might get charged. Armored cars charging in wildly. Sticky bombs going off, one immobilized, numerous engines destroyed, out of control and out of sight, leaving only numerous wreckages. An inglorious end for all of these armored cars is certainly a great waste, conducted by their commander battery. Although it looks like they have managed to break through in the north, forcing Samak to actually gain some maneuvering space once more instead of running into this potential death trap. Although Nebelwerfer fire seems to be softening it up a bit. Still no actual infantry, just Nebelwerfer's armored cars, and that's it. But no larger infantry forces to actually push to seize ground, except from Samak's Panzer Grenadiers, and they are woefully unsupported themselves. We will have to see how this develops, but it's certainly not looking brighter for the Wehrmacht. Puma charging ahead, and of course quickly being exposed to anti-tank fire, out of control and right into a hedge. A foolhardy charge without any support right at the frontal positions of the enemy again. Armored cars are not tanks, and they certainly won't act like it under heavy fire. And we see mines being hit. Panzer Grenadiers dashing ahead, not trying to deal with this area, and we see this corn silo has been converted into a Ford barracks. Certainly an interesting place to set up, I suspect. Panzer Grenadiers trying to hold the rear area while riflemen are moving in. Further forces moving in, and a full rout is forced, causing them to retreat right through them. And we see Mr. Battery having pulled out, apparently having lost too much and feeling unable to do any more. He has handed control to the AI commander and run away. And we see here Didibus Sherman charging in. Veterancy going up for the Sherman, meaning it is faster and has higher penetration. And we see Samak's attempt at breaking out of this containment has failed, as he's now being hunted down by the Americans, since no one was actually able to keep some pressure up here. Again, no actual infantry or combat forces from neither Aragon or Mr. Yeha. And I'd certainly suspect some might end up in a penal unit on the eastern front at this rate. Panzer Grenadiers being surrounded from all sides, suffering heavy losses. They'll also have to pull back. And indeed they do. And Krebs Coho securing the south after so much fighting over it. He takes it away from Mr. Battery. And we see debuting away with his Shermans, opening fire on the base of, or the former base of Battery, as now a scout car is left to fend for itself. The Americans not really pushing through at the center. What might be going on? Their bases, tank depots all around, it seems, with plenty of Shermans to go around. And we also see a Calliope going up from Dirty Jer. Geschützwagen watching over the road alongside the Marder, expecting some sort of counter-attack, or attack at least. And rather seems to me that the German commanders have been way too defensive, hoping for the Americans to just dash them against their defensive, be beaten, and then allow the Germans to actually lead an attack and win. And now we see a Panzer IV from Aragon out, Marder blowing up right as it arrives. Veterans see 3 Sherman, which means it also does more damage. Certainly not a good position for the Sherman, which is being sticky bombed and hit from all sides, it seems. And goodbye, Mr. Panzer IV, and once more a Volksgrenadier charge out in the open, no cover. Have they never had off cover? Absolutely tragic. Volksgrenadiers being cut down here and there. Absolutely not well, I'd say. We see the M10 stalking the battlefield, and we see another Marder moving in, trying to contain the situation, while the Americans are also holding off this spot. But so far the efforts of the Wehrmacht commanders seems to be trying to hold the south and contain the complete utter failure of Sparty-Ray. But even now Aragon has pulled out, apparently feeling inadequate for the task, with just giving up. Geschützwagen standing up against the Sherman. Who will win? The Geschützwagen or the Sherman? Looks like it was the Volksgrenadiers with the Panzerfaust. Although it did manage a parting shot on the Geschützwagen, almost knocking it out. M10's firing away at the south. Sherman pressing ahead, meeting very little resistance. Volksgrenadiers apparently only one survived, the rest were brutally slaughtered, and now looks like these Nebelwerfers might be in trouble. Bombing run going in on Samak's base, and he still has the largest force, most intact force in fact.
Enemy unit.
And the Geschützwagen is knocked out. The Sherman crashes forwards through the wreckage and is now faced with the numerous Panzerschrecks, going to suffer a lot of damage. Will it make it out of there? And now even Yehar pulls out, apparently not having the will to fight anymore, a disgrace to his fatherland. Leaving only Samak to hold the line and restore some sort of honor and dignity to Army Group B's forces in this area on the Route N13. We see Spatteray's base has completely fallen by now, leaving Aragons in the next to be wrecked. Nebelwerfers by some curious decision have been moved forwards, and we see a possessed Nebelwerfer moving backwards, but now stopping, the ghost having left it. We see Panzer Grenadiers moving ahead with Panzerschrecks, and we hear Calliopes hammering away. And to those of you wondering, well, why doesn't it also function like a regular tank? That's because the recoil of the main gun would wreck apart the entire rocket launcher array if it actually fired. So it's a matter of accuracy, actually. And realism, I suppose. Knight's Cross holders apparently being called in. Not going to do much and drowned out in a sea of airborne by Krebs Coho. DB2's Sherman blasting away and not really making any resistance, but what is this? Panthers also being thrown into the fray in a desperate attempt by some Mach to salvage the situation. Will these Panzers single-handedly turn the tide and win this fight and clear the crossroads? Or will they just be wrecked like so much else German armor in this fight? But looks like they will so far have racked up 2 Sherman kills. And now they might move to the south to try and deal with some of all this. Yes, indeed, charging ahead, separating though. Each approaching from their end of the hedgerows. The first one moving ahead and exposing itself to a concentrated volleys of Wolverine fire. The other Panther just moving ahead, and the Panther is in dire straits. Geschützwagen though having been moved in. Panther out of control. We see War Machine going up on the Allies, meaning any armored loss will be replaced instantly for free. The M10s charging ahead. Geschützwagen now being dealt with by the highly veteran Sherman from DB2's. Panther moving in, opening fire on the M10s from the rear, knocking out another. Although it's going to have to pull back, since now it's being hit with everything but the kitchen sink. And it's certainly looking dangerous. We see perhaps something? Not really, no. Anti-tank guns moving ahead. And we see a Pershing. That was what I was looking for. The Pershing. Apparently we missed it earlier. Also doing a lot of damage. And we see a Puma. Oh dearie me, even now. Some Max forces are completely devastated. Barely any Panzer left. And the Jagdpanther has been thrown in a desperate bid to stop things, but will just be another wreckage on Route N13 as of today. Being quickly surrounded, hit from all sides, might take out the Pershing, but that is not going to happen. Instead, it's going to get blown to bits, and there we go, the venerable Jagdpanther. Another thing for the Reapers list. And we see everything has now collapsed. There is nothing to hold back the Allied hordes as they tear their way through what remains of German bases. Quite tragic, and of course, what can we learn from this? Well, for starters, use cover for heaven's sake. It exists there for a reason. Second, be aggressive. It worked quite well for the Americans, as you can see. Be aggressive, attack. And of course the Wehrmacht class did not constantly adopted a defensive posture, apparently hoping to somehow do a lot of damage to the Americans, but not really realizing the concepts of a defense, and so suffered brutally, plus of course their complete failure at unit preservation. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, subscribe. If you didn't, don't worry. We'll have your regular program of 1 vs 1s and 2 vs 2s from tomorrow once more. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.